Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Dr. Arnold Nerenberg. It's my pleasure to be here with you today. I've been in the profession as a clinical psychologist licensed to practice in California since 1974. And I've been in the profession 50 years. And I've walked upon this earth close to 81 years. In another few weeks, it'll be 81 years. So it's my pleasure to be here with you. I'm so grateful that you're here, that I have the opportunity to present to you thoughts and inspirations and ideas of a lifetime. It's my intention to uplift you for the rest of your lives with the information I'm going to give you, with the energy, the inspirations that hopefully you'll get from hearing me today. And hopefully you'll be able to pass this on to your children and your descendants benefit from what you're feeling today, what you're learning today. It's very important communication between us, very important. The title of today's presentation is You're Not Alone. You're not alone. We all suffer a lot. We all suffer a lot. Why did I come up with that title? When people watch my videos, and I have about 820 or more videos, we have in digital form maybe 250, 300 so far. People, I say, what benefit do you get when all my wonderful people who are watching this? I talk to everybody. I say, what are your benefit you're getting? One universal answer is I feel less alone. I'm less alone with these problems. I felt so alone before. When I hear you talk, I feel less alone with it. So that's why I have the title, You're Not Alone. We all suffer a lot. My intention is to normalize your suffering. You're going through anxiety, depression, panic attacks, relationship problems. It's all normal. I don't think anybody ever told you that. Nobody ever told me that. Nobody ever said, you know what? It's normal to suffer. No. In our society, people are hiding it. They're feeling desperate. They go through terrible things. This is, for example, you had that Anthony Bourdain doing that eating, he was going all over the world eating and meeting great people, always laughing. Who knew he was suffering? One day he killed himself. That happens. People are going through things, they hide it. Heck, we hide it. When we're super stressed out, a lot of times we're going to hide it. But as we enter greater states of understanding and wisdom, we can deal with it more effectively. We don't have to hide it as much. I'll tell you some ways to be able to talk to loved ones about it in a good way. It takes a lot of energy to hide these things. For many people, it's hard to keep smiling when they're crying inside. As a friend of mine once said, we're comparing our insides to somebody's outsides. Outwardly, they look happy. Some people say, everybody looks so happy. How come I'm not happy? And then you go on the internet, on Facebook, or different social media. People are having a cup of wine and drinking a drink. They're at a wonderful resort. Or they're in the Bahamas, laying in a hammock. The good life, the so-called good life. Well, I'm here to tell you, no normal human being is like that a lot of the time. That person is going to be facing suffering in so many dimensions, so many. Look at work. People in their jobs. It might be a job you love. A lot of people love their work, but what happens with management, the supervisors, their co-workers, they become miserable, suffer a lot. People at the job might feel disrespected, humiliated, unappreciated, harassed, overworked, micromanaged, treated unfairly, or discriminated against. Well, when people have that, they come home, maybe they take it out on their family, pretty miserable. And those thoughts don't leave. You've been humiliated at work, disrespected at work, picked on, micromanaged, which makes you feel like the guy's calling me an idiot. Why is he telling me to do each of these things? I've been doing this for 20 years. These thoughts don't leave. You go home. Heck, you can spend $20,000 and go on a vacation, and those thoughts come with you. Yes, indeed. Those thoughts come with you. You might have left the workplace, but the workplace hasn't left you. That's a fact. So people are suffering enormously. I see it all the time in my practice. I see wonderful, wonderful people feeling so destroyed and so annihilated, and feeling like people that their management is trying to squeeze everything they can out of them and give as little back in return as possible. And people are home. They're working so hard, tolerating all that suffering at work and discrimination, they're treated unfairly, they're micromanaged. Come home, and most people feel unappreciated at home, misunderstood. The conflicts, they feel disrespected at home. The kid's father might be coming home from work, or the mother. Kids don't even come and hug them and say hello. They just playing their games or watching TV, and no standing up and going over and hugging their parent or kissing the parent or saying, hey, I'm so glad you're home. They're all involved with their little world. So feeling unappreciated. And then you have the suffering. So you have suffering in the workplace. In every relationship, even great relationships, you hit points where it becomes awful. Great marriage, hit a terrible spot, awful, and go through that suffering. I'm just talking about that it's normal to suffer, and I'm going to talk about more about how to deal with that. Medical, you're going along, you're getting a little pain somewhere, you get it diagnosed, maybe you have to take a biopsy, cancer. Or somebody's going along and they have a stroke, a heart attack. Or there's an injury in the person's leg was smashed in. They become diabetic, so heart disease, maybe diabetes, and then maybe the kidneys get destroyed. They have to go to dialysis, which just really knocks people out, especially if they have to be there 3.5, 4 hours. They leave, they're wiped out for the day. All these things happen, and they're medically suffering a lot. Or a person is normally very active, now they can't do those things, and they're getting arthritis. They can't play with the kids or the grandkids or go out and do the gardening, the things they love to do. It's gone. A person may get so damaged medically, they feel, psychologically, a person feels useless. I can't wash the dishes. I can't really look after my family. I can't provide for my family. A person starts feeling worthless, depressed over it, suffering again, suffering. Could be financial. You got laid off, or a pandemic comes and the industries are closed down. There were restaurant chains that were so successful. I know of some, and the owners had to close it down. So they went from being rich to being really poor, diminished, and having to go through the terrible thing of all that loss. Well, that loss is suffering. They feel like they're a failure. They can't take care of their families. The respect that they had from their co-workers and in the industry is gone. And then there could be unexpected expenses. You got about 60% of bankruptcies in this country are medically driven. And anybody could be in that situation. If one family member gets a serious illness, a heart attack, can't work, or has a form of cancer, and maybe the current treatments aren't effective, so they get some natural treatments, whatever, they start spending money, or the insurance doesn't cover all the hospital bills, and even with small co-payments, it ends up being $50,000, $100,000, $200,000. And have to go bankrupt, can't possibly pay the hospital. I'm outlining this because this is not unusual. What I'm saying to you, these people I'm talking about, which is me, you, everybody else, is not the exception. No, no, no. What I'm talking about is not the exception. This is the rule. For 99% of the population, 99.9%, yeah, may have a, 1 in a billion that doesn't go through this, or is so spiritually gifted they rise above it and unfazed. But all the rest of us, regular human beings, we're suffering a lot, not a little bit. Oh, I suffered a little bit. No, 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 forget a little bit. We're talking a lot, and that's normal. Now, your friends are not telling you that they're depressed and anxious. You don't see people putting in Facebook, hey, I'm so depressed, I'm miserable, and I'm making a face like they're miserable. They're not going to put that in the Facebook. They're smiling, they're taking a hike, they're at the beach. Maybe they're playing ball with the kids. They're going to put that on there. Look at me, I'm having a great time. Well, see, it's also a matter of ego. It's in our society, it's a statement of being less than. In other words, if you're not happy and you're suffering at a given time, then you're less than. People are embarrassed to say, well, I'm not doing too well right now, brother. I'm really not. I'm having a tough time. Now, here's the key to adding dignity to the struggle. It's one thing to say, you know what? I'm really depressed. I'm going through a lot of anxiety, financial problems, medical problems, relationship problems. It's all hit me at once. But you know what? I'm going to come back stronger than ever. See, when you add, I'm going to tell you the attitudes which will give dignity to those struggles and to that suffering. Dignity. See, when you just tell somebody, hey, I'm miserable, I'm so depressed, I'm miserable, you just walk around like that, people don't know what to do. If that's all you say is what you're going through, and especially people can't tolerate if you start blaming everybody for it. You say, yeah, this happened to me, it's his fault and her fault, he did this to me, poor me. If you do a lot of poor me on this thing, yeah, people absolutely don't want to hear too much of that. Really, nobody wants to hear too much of that. But if you say, you know what, I'm going, my problems that I've had. Now, let me tell you another thing about most of our suffering. Your suffering or my suffering, a very high percentage, most of it we caused ourselves in one way or another. We co-created it. So if we say, I'm going through these hard times, but I did co-create it. I'm not a victim here. I did co-create it. And here's how I did it. I'm learning from it. And you know what? I'm going to come back stronger than ever. Yes, I am. Good's going to come from this. Well, now there's a dignity in that suffering. Now you can even share it with whomever you want because it becomes admirable, it becomes noble, that attitude, and it's based on we're dealing honorably. So the other part I want to tell you, we're all suffering a lot in this life, but we can deal with it honorably, 100%. Some of the ways to deal honorably with it, I'll come back much stronger than ever. That's powerful. Gives dignity and nobility to that struggle. Or if you believe in God as I do, God willing, I'll come back much stronger than ever. Or if you're a non-believer, you could say, hopefully, I'm going to come back much stronger than ever. Now that thought, I call it a derivative from the warrior's commandment of honor. There's 4 commandments of honor, one of which is, I'm grateful for the power I gain from hardship. I'm grateful for the power I gain from hardship. And there's 2 derivatives. I'll come back much stronger than ever. And the other is, what's the best true story I can tell myself about this problem? I've told this story in the past, and I stopped telling it for a while, but a woman, her son was shot 9 times, came in weeping, miserable, understandably so. I said, oh my God, as a parent, I have 7 children. That's a parent's nightmare. But what if I told you it's the best true story you can tell yourself about that problem? That will give dignity, nobility, and honor to you and to your son. I said, really? What would that be? It's this. They couldn't kill my son. They shot him 9 times. God has a purpose for his life. And she just lit up. Just totally lit up. her eyes, her lips. Oh, God does that. She went out floating. Her son was still shot 9 times in stable condition in the hospital. When I saw her the next week, I said, did you tell your son? He said, yeah. He smiled, made him happy. And she still looked up and beaming. It changed her perception of it. So if she was to tell somebody, you know what, my son was shot 9 times, and these gang guys did it, they this and that, it's so terrible, terrible. Well, that's a true story, but it doesn't have the same dignity and nobility and honor as saying, you know what, it shows that God has a purpose for his life. Man, shot 9 times, he's still here. God has a purpose for his life. Now it's uplifting. Now it's inspiring. And that's the key. You inspire yourself and others with his suffering. So we're not alone. We're going to suffer a lot. But that suffering is going to strengthen us. All things work for good for those who seek the good. Or as it says in the scripture, all things work for good for those who love the Lord. Another very important part of struggle and suffering, we struggle with the different sufferings we're going through at work, at home, medically, legally, financially. You can't really know somebody. You can't really know somebody unless you know their struggles. If every time you see a guy who's happy and, he's just talking, oh, I went to this restaurant, and I went to this ball game, and you go through that, well, that's very good. Hey, let's go watch the game tonight. We'll have some pizza, we'll have some beer, whatever. That's great. But you don't know him unless you know his struggles. What does he really struggle with in life? What do you struggle with in life? One of the things that I love about what I do, I get to meet beautiful human beings all day long, and they share with me their struggles. They know I'm never going to tell somebody, I'm not going to use it against them. They tell me really what they're going through. And I get to know them, so I get to love the people I see because I know their struggles. So when you see somebody in their vulnerability and in their struggle, for those that you feel you can share it with, the natural reaction to that is compassion and love. You love that person, and you know that person. You can have a relative or friend that you've known for 20 years, 30 years, longer. But if you haven't talked about it, if you haven't gone to that level, you don't really feel you know them. You really need to know him or her through what do they struggle with, how did they deal with it, and you know the person. Somebody needs to know how you struggle with what you go through, how you deal with it. Now, I have to just say that for most people, the attitude is this: if I tell you how miserable I am, I don't want you to pity me. I don't want you to feel sorry for me. That's one. And I don't want to burden you. That's a lot of people say that. I don't want to burden my friend. I don't want them to feel sorry for me. And there's a good motive. They're very considerate. But you know what? They won't feel sorry for you. They won't pity you. It depends how you talk about it. If you say, I went through this thing and it's making me stronger. It's making me, I'm going to come back stronger than ever. Or if you believe in God as I do, you say, I'm so extremely grateful for these trials and tribulations that bring me closer to God. Yeah, I really am. This is great. I'm going through this. It hurts like heck, but it's making a better person. I'm turning to God more. And if a person doesn't believe in God, it's bringing out my strength more. I'm able to reach to my highest values more powerfully because I'm trying to rise above this. So when you hear a struggle, when you're talking about your own struggle to yourself, say, God, I'm extremely grateful for the trials and tribulations you send me that bring me closer to you. Now, when you take that attitude, God, I'm extremely grateful for the trials and tribulations you send me that bring me closer to you. What does that make the trials and tribulations? What does that turn the suffering into? A gift. It's a gift. If something's going to bring you closer to your divine nature, your higher values, to God, that's grace. Outwardly, it's fire and vengeance. It's been said that outwardly it's fire and vengeance. Inwardly, it's mercy and light. That's something. So now, the trials and tribulations and the suffering are a gift. Purifying us. getting us, we realize all we have is God to turn to, because other people don't really understand what we're going through. Maybe they don't want to understand it. We just turn to God more. We turn to higher values. It makes us grow. Without that, we don't grow. And without that, you can't achieve wisdom. It's impossible. Totally impossible to achieve wisdom without suffering. 100% impossible. You can have pleasure and fun and enjoyment without suffering, but you can't have wisdom. Impossible. You must suffer to have wisdom. Now, so we're going, God, I'm so grateful. I'm extremely grateful. Not grateful, extremely grateful for this suffering, for these trials and tribulations you're sending me that bring me closer to you. Thank you for this gift. So now you're doing it. Now, it used to be, when the commandments of honor, I had the warrior's commandment of honor. I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship. Wasn't grateful for the hardship. I was grateful for the power, the lessons, the strength I gained from the hardship. But this takes it a step further. This is corollary to that commandment of honor. And I become grateful for the hardship itself. Of course, if a person believes in God, say, God, send me all the hardships you feel that you believe I need to bring me closer to you. But I hope you won't send me too much. But if you feel I need it, do it. But if you don't think I need it, I like to be spared. But if you think I need it, then I trust in you. Now, this is doable. The thing I'm telling you is 100% achievable. So what am I saying to you? You're going to suffer a lot. You're not alone with that suffering. And you can deal with it honorably in a way that brings dignity and nobility to the human spirit. And if you share it with loved ones, whomever you want to share it with, it brings out not pity, but respect. Not feeling sorry for you, but admiration. And, get this, inspiration. You're educating the others. You show them this is a way to live. And the person sees, oh yeah, wow, that's your attitude? Wow. You know, I'm a world champion powerlifter. I was 65. I took the title of strongest drug-free man in the world for my age and weight. That sounds like a pretty good accomplishment. But what makes it greater? What makes it really even beyond that? I had prostate cancer at the time. Now it gets to another level. I had prostate cancer, and it didn't stop me. Now it gets to another level. Back when my urologist said you tested positive, you have prostate cancer, it's not a little bit amount, it's intermediate, and it's not and it's a somewhat aggressive Gleason score of 7. And because I'm trained myself in this way of thinking, I said, Doc, first my face went numb, I really did. Then I said, Doc, that's great. I said, what? You can see, you never heard anybody say that, and I'm sure he never did since. I'm sure he never forgot it. I said, yeah, this is to make me stronger spiritually, emotionally, and physically. And it did right away. I stepped outside. I saw the trees and the clouds and heard the birds. It was more beautiful than it ever was. Some kind of veil lifted it. When I saw people, I just want to go and talk to them and show love to them. And there wasn't that separation and sense of otherness to so-called strangers. Everybody was like, I felt one with the people, anybody and everybody. That was a great gift. So now when I tell you this, look how it changed it. A world champion powerlifter, and by the way, a world champion bodybuilder. World champion powerlifter. Well, look how that story is even enhanced by you knowing the struggle behind it, what I dealt with during that time. So I not only had to train myself, a tremendous training and dedication and discipline to achieve that power, but now you know the underpinnings of it. It didn't subtract. You don't go, oh, you poor thing. No, you go, wow, that's inspiring. And you've got those inspiring stories. When you tell the best true story about things you suffer with, it's going to be very inspiring to you, to your children, to your loved ones, to your parents, to anybody who hears it. That's your legacy of honor is tied into your misery, your struggles, and how you dealt with it. That's your real legacy. That's your nobility. That's your honor. I've given you the principles to do that. Now, it's been my pleasure to, really my privilege, and I want you to take this all your life. I've said it to begin with, I'll say it again. I want you to have this for the rest of your life, these attitudes. I recommend you write those thoughts down that I'm telling you about. Now, write them each down because they're gonna transform your life. Absolutely transform it. You're not alone. We all struggle. We all suffer a lot. I'm going to open it up to a discussion. Jay, anything you have to say or ask about this?
Well, yes, Doctor. For the most part, society has always told us to hide our suffering and our depression. But what I've learned personally is that it's a strength to share when you're suffering or when you're depressed or when something's just not going right. And when you do that, the vast majority of the time, the person you're sharing with is going to come back and say, you know what? I've had a very similar situation.
It does make people feel more connected.
So we can share it and talk it out and work it out together, because it's not a weakness. It's a strength to be able to share with people.
And if we share it in a way not to burden them and say that, what kind of benefits we got from that suffering, that struggling, that depression, that anxiety, the person then is not burdened by it and is open to sharing that they've been through it. It does create a connection. When my father passed away, was the biggest loss of my life. It was about 30 years ago. Then so many people started telling me their fathers had passed away. There was such a communion between, such a connection over that they had lost their fathers. And it does create a special bond and connection when people can relate to each other's struggles, to each other's suffering. It creates a genuine connection. And that's a beautiful result of the suffering. That's another gift. Very good point, Jay. It's another gift of suffering.
We truly do gain power through hardship. We really do. That's how we learn.
Well, this is,
when we share.
And that oneness with other people who are going through it is one of the tremendous blessings of sharing that. Thanks, Jay. I appreciate your input. It's a pleasure to have had this time with you and a privilege to be in your presence.
The sea of destiny is in your deepest struggle. God's will and mine be one, and I wish you well. You are co-creator, respectfully real. There's a way in the valley that turns weakness to steel. We're known through all eternity, from strife we gain power, clothed in grace and love, disciples of honor. All the days of our lives refuse the way of shame. We wish nobody harm, have no one to blame. Your high calling will be done, and pure eyes now glow. In darkness crave the good, like waters from the desert flow. I pledge my love all the days of my life. I pledge my soul to all that is good. I pledge my heart to my brothers and sisters, who I join in the light, leave a legacy of honor. We're from strife we gain power, clothed in grace and love, disciples of honor. All the days of our lives refuse the way of shame. We wish nobody harm, have no one to blame. Your high calling will be done, and pure eyes now glow. In darkness crave the good, like waters from the desert flow.